Imagine this, you're alone in a room. The air is cold, the silence deafening. You feel it before you see it, a presence, lurking just beyond the edge of your vision. You tell yourself it's nothing, just your mind playing tricks. But deep down, you know better, because in the darkest corners of the world, in the places where the light refuses to go, there are things that defy explanation, things that watch, things that wait. Tonight we take you to two such places, where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and where the holidays are anything but merry. This is Passport to Terror, and these are the stories that will make you question what's real and what's waiting in the shadows. So lock your doors, turn up the volume, and prepare yourself.
There's something about the holidays that makes you feel safe. But in the frozen heart of Siberia, where the nights are endless and the snow swallows everything in its path, the holidays take on a darker tone. Here, the season is not just about joy and celebration, it's about survival. And sometimes, survival means facing the things that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the story of how I learned that lesson the hard way. It was January in Primorsky, a remote corner of Russia where the cold doesn't just bite, it devours. I was spending the holidays with my girlfriend Ludia and her grandmother Babushka in their creaky old dacha. The house was a labyrinth of dark corners and eerie silence, filled with relics of a past that seemed to whisper secrets I wasn't meant to hear. I should have known something was wrong when I heard the tapping. At first, it was faint, a soft, rhythmic sound that could have been the wind or the settling of the old house. But as the minutes passed, it grew louder, more insistent, like someone or something was trying to get my attention. I told myself it was nothing, just the house playing tricks on me. Because in Siberia, the holidays aren't just a time for celebration. They are a time for the dead to walk among the living. The feast of St. Nicholas had come and gone, a raucous affair filled with laughter, vodka, and the occasional drunken mishap, like Babushka's neighbor passing out naked in her sauna. By the time old Christmas rolled around, I was exhausted, overfed, and thoroughly confused about when I was supposed to receive gifts. But boredom? That was the real enemy. In Russia, the long holiday break is a time for superstition and eerie traditions, fortune-telling, rituals to ward off evil spirits, and, of course, the Ouija board. Babushka, Ludia's grandmother, had one, a weathered circular board that looked like it had seen more than its fair share of seances. I had always dismissed it as a harmless relic, a curiosity from a bygone era. But as I would soon learn, some doors are better left unopened. It was January 2nd, and Ludia and I had finally made it to Babushka's dacha, a creaky old house nestled in a remote village. Babushka greeted us at the door, her beady eyes twinkling with mischief as she made her usual flirtatious remarks. I laughed it off as always, but there was something about her gaze that made my skin crawl, a glint of something knowing, something ancient. After settling in, I found myself alone in the house for the first time. Ludia and Babushka had gone to the village center to pick up dinner, leaving me to finish wrapping gifts in the downstairs bedroom. The room was small and dimly lit, the walls lined with faded photographs and religious icons that seemed to watch me as I worked. That's when I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. At first I thought it was the wind, or perhaps a tree branch brushing against the window, but the sound was too deliberate, too rhythmic. I stood and walked to the window, pulling back the curtains to reveal nothing but a sheet of ice and darkness. The tapping came again, this time from behind me. I turned, my heart pounding, and scanned the room. Nothing. The sound grew louder, more insistent. Tap, tap, tap. It seemed to be coming from the hallway. I stepped out of the bedroom and into the living room, a cavernous space cluttered with trinkets and shadows. The air was heavy, oppressive, and I could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon me. Then I saw it. A shadow moved in the corner of the room, dark and shapeless, shifting as if alive. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The shadow seemed to pulse, to breathe, and then it was gone, vanishing into the walls as if it had never been there. I told myself it was a trick of the light, a figment of my imagination, but deep down, I knew better. The tapping returned, louder now, echoing through the house like a drumbeat. I followed the sound to the front door, my footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. The door was unlocked, as was customary in the village, and I pulled it open, expecting to find some prankster or stray animal. Instead, I was met with silence. The snow fell in soft, lazy flakes, blanketing the ground in a pristine white sheet. The village was eerily still, the only sound the faint crunch of snow beneath my boots as I stepped outside. There were no footprints, no signs of life, just the endless expanse of winter. I returned to the house, my limbs numb from the cold, and closed the door behind me. That's when I realized the tapping wasn't tapping at all. It was footsteps. Someone, or something, was upstairs. I grabbed my phone and crept up the staircase, each step creaking beneath my weight. The sound of footsteps grew louder, more frantic, as I approached Babushka's bedroom. The door was wide open, the room bathed in the pale glow of the streetlights outside. And then I saw it. A shadow danced across the wall, swaying back and forth in a grotesque parody of a dance. My stomach churned as I realized the source of the shadow. A shawl hanging over the arm of a chair, moving as if caught in an invisible breeze. But the windows were sealed, the air still. I didn't wait to see more. I turned and fled, my heart racing as I stumbled down the stairs and out into the snow. Ludia and Babushka were just returning, their faces etched with concern as I babbled about what I had seen. Ludia, ja je skazala, što dom presleduje. I told you the house was haunted. That night, as we sat around the fire, Babushka told us the story of the dacha. Decades ago, a young woman had died in the house, her spirit trapped within its walls. She had been a dancer, her life cut short by a tragic accident, and her restless soul still lingered, searching for the music that had once brought her joy. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak, every whisper of wind sent a jolt of terror through me. And as I lay there, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that something was waiting in the shadows, biding its time. The holidays in Siberia are a time for family, for warmth, for joy. But they are also a time for darkness, for the unseen and the unknown. And as I learned that winter, some traditions are best left in the past, because some spirits are better left undisturbed.
Have you ever felt like you weren't alone in a room, like something was watching you from the shadows, just out of sight? Most of us brush it off as our imagination. But what if it wasn't? What if there really was something there? Something you couldn't see, but it could see you? This is the story of what happened to me and my mother in the winter of 2009, in a small unassuming apartment on the outskirts of Moscow. It's a story that still haunts me to this day. Not just because of what we experienced, but because of what we couldn't explain. It started with our dog Marshall and his terrified barks in the dead of night. But it didn't end there. What began as a single, chilling incident spiraled into something far darker, something that invaded our home, our lives, and even followed us beyond its walls. This isn't just a ghost story, it's a warning, because sometimes the things we can't see are the most dangerous of all. So before you turn off the lights tonight, ask yourself this: what would you do if you realized you weren't alone? What if the thing watching you from the shadows wasn't just in your head? Let me tell you what happened. It was the winter of 2009, a time when the cold seemed to seep into the very bones of the city, and the nights stretched long and dark. I lived with my mother in a small, cramped apartment on the outskirts of Moscow. The place was modest, a single living room that doubled as our bedroom, a kitchen that always smelled faintly of cabbage, and a bathroom that never quite got warm enough. Our dog, Marshall, was a loyal companion. a sturdy, brave-hearted mutt who had been with us for years. He was the kind of a dog who would bark at strangers but wag his tail at the sight of a squirrel. That night, however, something changed him. Something changed us. It was around 2 a.m. when it began. My mother and I were asleep, the room silent except for the occasional creak of the old building settling. Marshall usually slept at the foot of my mother's bed, but that night he woke with a start. His low growl cut through the stillness, a sound I didn't hear but my mother would later describe as guttural, almost inhuman. Then came the barking, sharp, frantic, and filled with a terror that made her blood run cold. My mother woke to find Marshall trembling violently, his eyes fixed on the corner of the ceiling above my sofa. She tried to calm him, but he wouldn't stop. She followed his gaze, but the corner was empty, just the same cracked plaster and peeling paint that had been there for years. Yet Marshall acted as if something was there, something wrong. What chilled her most was his refusal to leave the bed. Marshall was a protector, the kind of dog who would charge headfirst into danger. But that night, he stayed rooted to the spot, his body shaking, his barks growing more frantic. It was as if whatever he saw was so terrifying, so beyond comprehension, that even he couldn't face it directly. My mother tried to call out to me, to wake me, but her voice caught in her throat. She realized with growing dread that she couldn't move. Her body felt heavy, as if an invisible weight pressed down on her chest. Her arms, her legs, they were leaden, unresponsive. For what felt like an eternity, she lay there, trapped in a state between sleep and wakefulness, while Marshall continued to bark at the empty corner. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The room fell silent. Marshall's barks faded into whimpers, and he curled up at the foot of the bed, his body still trembling. My mother, finally able to move, sat up and scanned the room. Everything was as it should be. The corner was empty, the air was still, but the feeling of dread lingered, like a shadow that refused to fade. When she told me the next morning, I was skeptical. I hadn't heard a thing. To me, it had been a peaceful night, undisturbed by any noise or disturbance. But her description of Marshall's behavior, his fear, his refusal to leave the bed, left me uneasy. I inspected the corner of the ceiling, searching for some logical explanation. A bug, a draft, anything. But there was nothing. Just solid concrete and peeling paint. The incident might have been written off as a strange one-time occurrence if not for what followed. In the weeks after that night, the atmosphere in the apartment changed. It was subtle at first, a feeling of being watched when I was alone, a chill that crept up my spine even when the heating was on. My mother began to complain of a heaviness in her chest, a difficulty breathing that no doctor could explain. She quit smoking thinking it might help, but the sensation persisted. It was as if something invisible was pressing down on her, sapping her strength. Then there were the cats. My mother had two, and they began to act strangely. They would stare at the same corner Marshall had barked at, their eyes wide, their tails puffed up. Sometimes they would hiss at nothing, their claws digging into the carpet as if ready to attack. And then there were the mornings when my mother would return from the store, still steps away from the door, and the cats would already be there, waiting, as if they had sensed her approach long before she arrived. The final straw came 5 days ago at my girlfriend's apartment. She called me in a panic, her voice trembling. That morning, she had woken up to find her closet door wide open. Inside, a picture of her and her sister, a cherished memory, had been turned face down. And on the floor, shattered into pieces, was a small angel statue she had kept on her dresser. She swore she hadn't touched it, hadn't even been near it. But there it was, lying in fragments, as if it had been thrown to the ground. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's a curse, a spirit, or something else entirely. But I do know this, whatever it is, it's not done with us. The air in our apartment feels heavier every day, the shadows darker, the silence more oppressive. And sometimes when I'm alone, I catch a glimpse of movement out of the corner of my eye, a flicker, a shift, as if something is there, watching, waiting. I don't know how much longer we can stay here, but I fear that even if we leave, it won't be enough. Because whatever this thing is, it's not bound by walls or doors. It's in the air, in the shadows, in the very fabric of our lives. And it's not going away.
And so, we return to the light, or what little of it remains. These stories, though separated by miles and memories, share a common thread: the unseen, the unexplained, and the undeniable. They remind us that the world is far stranger than we dare to imagine, and that sometimes the most terrifying things are the ones we cannot see. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've faced the shadows and lived to tell the tale. But before you go, ask yourself this: are you truly alone right now? Or is there something just beyond the edge of your vision, waiting for you to let your guard down? If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Well, you're free to explore our other videos on Passport to Terror, but be warned. Once you step into the darkness, it's not always easy to find your way back. Until next time, sleep with the lights on.